Hello, 2,959 subscribers. My agency built more than 50 AI automations and agents for different businesses. In this video, I want to share a solution we built for a client we recently worked with. This is a very powerful agent whose main goal is to bring more money into the business. So I think this is by far one of the best ways you can sell AI if you're an agency owner or use if you own a business. I'll share a full case study, what we built, how we built it, and obviously how much we charged. Let's jump into the backend so that you can see how everything works. When we talk about AI solutions, let's go from the top. You have chatbots, automations, and voice AI callers. Chatbots, linear, and agents, linear, just the chatbots that operate from a knowledge base, agents, more in-depth tools that connect to third-party databases and management softwares. Automations, very specific needs. Today, we're going to talk about voice AI callers. For the callers, we have outbound and inbound. So for the outbound, obviously, we have things like follow-ups, updates, reminders. These are the use cases which are usually used right now in the space. For the inbound, we have something like a receptionist. And this is a very generalized term where essentially this is an agent that receive inquiries and then provide maybe technical support, resolve billing problems, or answer general inquiries. Or we can also transfer the agent to a human. The problem with inbound agents at the current stage is that if you are, again, selling this solution, it all comes down to the volume. If there is a volume of incoming requests, it means that the business will usually have a system in place, right? So it's a bigger business and they have something that they operate on. Essentially, when you come in and say, hey, we can do this and we can replace the humans, right? AI is not there yet, not on the technical side, but more on the observation side from the general public that can like fully replace people, especially if it's a business that has like higher checks or maybe like a premium type support, premium type services that require more human attention. That's why it's harder to actually sell inbound agents. Again, it really depends on the use case. There are businesses that will come to you with a specific problem. This is called, inbound traffic. These are warm leads. But if we are talking about offering the agents, especially the outbound one or the inbound one, to like the new businesses, they will have a hard time trying to understand a use case and trying to actually even test it out inside their company. That's why I do think that for right now, outbound agents is the main thing that is the main use case for voice AI, at least in like 80% of the cases that we work with. Because yes, the people, when you call them, they are more defensive, right? So they don't really want to talk to robots. That's why if you will see lower, we can, have cold calls or warm calls. Again, if we're talking about lead generation, but for, things like follow-ups, updates, and reminders, these are the people that know all the information about the company. They usually your customers or the customers of the business that you work with. So they will have an easier time to talking to the agent because it will simply provide the information and not try to engage them in a proactive way, trying to like receive some info that they don't want you to know, right? When we talk about lead generation using voice AI technology, there are two ways. Warm calls, this is what I already explained, and the cold calls. There are some companies that try to leverage like fully cold calling. I think eventually it's going to be banned. Plus, this is not a really good way to engage with prospects. Maybe there are some use cases, but again, one, it's going to be banned anyways, and two, people just don't want, to talk to robots, right? Especially if they have no idea who you are. That's why we need to leverage some sort of a warm audience. One of the best use cases is to do a dead leads reactivation. So essentially, this is how it works. There is a prospect who is interested in the services, right? Maybe he filled out the form, maybe he contacted you, maybe he visited the website and left some information, not through the form, but through something like a chatbot if you use it, or registered an account in your portal. Then he kind of becomes a lead, right? So it's a warm prospect that understands your offerings and want to learn more. But for some reason, he does not continue. So he does not buy your services, products, and just becomes dead. So usually it happens in a few months. They're no longer interested, or if they do, they just not properly warmed and not properly informed to make a decision. Some companies use email sequences. It's very rarely, especially with the local businesses, that send them emails to try to promote the services and maybe send some updates on what's going on with the company. But usually these emails go to spam. Again, it depends on the company. There are, maybe 1 or 2% of the businesses that run it effectively. But essentially the dead leads, when the lead becomes dead, it's just, he's done, right? He might come back himself at some point of time, or if you use the retargeting ads. Again, like this is what we could potentially discuss here, but the companies very rarely utilize the audience. This is where we comes in and say, hey, we can reactivate the leads that you have and try to bring additional revenue by trying to convert the people who were interested in the services. So they might not be qualified, yes, but this is where the volume comes in. So we are trying to call as many prospects as we can, trying to qualify them and trying to pitch them our services, maybe updates, maybe upsells or offers, not upsells because we haven't sold anything, and with the goal to either book an appointment or make them maybe visit our website again, or maybe to get an intent that they are interested, so that our sales team can further, nurture them by the actual calls using, the human dials. Okay, and this is what we did with the insurance agency that I will show you right now. Essentially, we can work with the dead leads by offering them something, as I already said, by following up, saying something like, hey, has anyone already contacted you? Did you have all the information that you need? It will really depends on the time frame when customer contacted you for the first time. Then based on this information, you would need to structure your offer and presentation so that AI has an easier time to talking to the actual lead or prospect. Or surveys, this is not what will bring more money into the business short term, but it's always great to understand why the lead didn't go to the next step so that you can improve certain things within your pipeline. Obviously, this is very hard thing to sell when you are starting out, because it's better to sell something like an offer or follow-up system and then either upsell or offer survey option as an additional service. Here is how the process with our current client works. They are using HubSpot as the main CRM. We exported all the dead leads into the Airtable database. Then, when the database is properly structured, we send an automation request to make.com using Airtable Automations. Inside make.com, we have a sequence that calls the prospect using Vapi. We built a voice AI agent using Vapi and then connected to make.com using APIs. Here in the sequence, agent calls the prospect, as you can see here, and do the things that we want it to do. Then, based on the conversation script, it will do different things. Essentially, our goal is to classify either this prospect is interested or not interested. For the both ways, we send a request after the call using the server webhook back to make.com to the actual second automation. So this is the first automation and this is the second automation. On the second automation, we again verify the stage where the prospect is at, and if he is interested, we do one thing, and if he's not interested, we do another thing. But essentially all these things are the updates in the Airtable database. And then based on the Airtable database, we create an Airtable interface as a dashboard where the client can see everything about what's going on with the system, how many calls has been done, how many conversations has been started, as well as how many prospects got interested. Now let's jump into the structure so that you can see how everything works. I will blur some information, but it will be pretty understandable anyways. So this is the website of the client. As you can see, it is very, very simple and old school. They don't really rely on the website. That's why we were not even offering them a chatbot option, because they don't have a lot of traffic. They go door to door as well as doing cold outreach. That's why they had a lot of prospects that were kind of interested but didn't go to the next step. That's why it was and still is the best use case for an outbound AI caller for like database reactivation. This is an Airtable database with some of the prospects that were exported from HubSpot. Again, I will blur all the information because last time my video got blocked because of this thing. As you can see, there is like first name, last name, address, city, state, zip code, and all of the information possible. There are some things about health, like problems, classification, policy, ownerships, benefits, daily coverage. We don't specifically use this information, at least for now, because the prospects were interested in the services a while back. Usually it's 2, 3, 4, 5 years. That's why the situation will change, and we don't really want to ask this information on the call using AI. The information that is here will be referenced when we are talking to the prospect, just trying to let them know that we know some information about them, like an address, the city, or like whatever, so that they have an easy time to understand that they were like actually interested in our services, and it's not just fake company that tries to get their information, especially for the older people, because we are going to talk with the 50+ audience, because this is a long-term care insurance solution, right? Now, this is a database. After we have exported and imported it here, we started to create an assistant on Vapi. Again, these are the demo ones that I copied and pasted from my main projects. Vapi is the platform where you can build voice AI agents, but since there is no way to trigger an outbound call directly from Vapi, plus we're doing it at scale, we need to start and trigger this assistant from an API. So let me first show you how the assistant is structured, and then we'll go to the actual automation. The first message is very simple. Hi, my name is Barbara, calling you from the LTC. Do you have a minute? The Barbara is, a name of our assistant. As you can see here, there's like a first name variable. In a nutshell, we are passing the name of the person as well as some other information to the assistant, right, through the API request, so that when Barbara calls, this person, she has the name as well as all other details. This is the only way to do that. Then we have, a role, a goal, the type of hooks that we are currently using. We call these soft hooks. The prospect is in between cold and hot lead. That's why we need to be more soft, right? So we just trying to push him to the decision. That's where our agent comes in, says, hey, you were interested. It means that you were interested in us, so something caught your attention. Then we're asking a soft hook to understand if they are at the position to learn more, and when they are, we're gathering some basic information and transferring it to our human sales rep. As you can see, these are very basic rules. Ask one question at a time, short, concise, be respectful, professional, not a robot, up to 18 words in total. This is the conversation structure. So we greeting the user, we say one of the hooks, you've been exploring our options a while back, understand if they are interested or not. If they don't, ask why. If they do, confirm the information like the city and state. This is actually the old script because it's not working for the state. Let's remove the state actually, or actually full address, just the city, whatever. Okay, so we are confirming the city to make sure that they are still living in the same address, right? We don't really need to know. We have the full address inside Airtable, as you can see somewhere here, but we don't need this information, and because when the AI will say something like 5852 at Tilbury Avenue, usually humans don't do that. We just say, hey, are you still in Razor or something like that. When we verify this information, we are capturing certain things based on the conversation history. We here again, I think this is the old script, because there are some things that we need to capture, like the current age, but that was for the demo purposes. I was letting AI to decide what information to capture based on the conversation flow. It doesn't really matter. We do need to know the age, kinda, but again, it's not 100% needed, because if they were interested, they're kind of qualified prospects. Then when our salesperson will call them, it has the transcript of the conversation between the AI and the person. He'll still ask all these questions again. They then say that the agent will contact them in 1 hour and hang up. We are not scheduling the call, because again, it just adds more complexity into the agent. We're trying to be, quick, snap, and straight to the point. Interested, not, capture details, done. Then our, real agent will call them and say, hey, Sarah, you've called to one of our, AI receptionists, callers. Do you want to, discuss it further? I'm here, to help you out. Okay, the guidelines, and this is the reference information. As you can see, the prospect name is the first name and last name. These are, again, the variables that we are passing from the Airtable. The prospect address on file, we don't really need the address, but still, it's like the address, city, and state. Prospect phone number on the file, the email, that's it, and then the description for the company. Now, when we go to Airtable here, we have an automation. This automation is triggered when you press a call, not button, checkbox. So when you check this checkbox, the automation starts. In the real database, we have a separate structure since we are using an interface. There, when a person, when the manager clicks a button, it calls the first 100 prospects that have not yet been called. Okay, but again, for the sake of this demo, I'm showing you a simplified version. So when you click the checkbox, there is an automation like start a call make.com. This automation will be ran. By the way, all this info will be available for free in my resource hub, right? So this agent script, the prompt, the settings, as well as I will remove some info from the Airtable, as well as this script will be all available for free in my resource hub. Is the first link in the description. You go there, put the email, and then it will send you the link with all of the resources from all of my videos. It's free, okay? So that, you don't need to copy it and paste the thing from my video. So when the checkbox is checked, we run this script. It's a very simple one. We are here specifying the variables that we're going to use. So record ID, we're passing the record ID to the webhook, the phone, the first name. So we are passing all this information. And here we say, okay, so this is the webhook that we need to trigger. And this is how the data structure of the output should look like. We're sending the phone. This is the phone number that our Vapi assistant will call. Then the client info, like record ID, first name, last name, phone address, city, state, and email. And this is the webhook email. This is the webhook URL. Okay. Then when we either click test or whatever, it will start this specific automation. Let me actually, this was one of the recent one before the video that I've tested. So as you can see, when the automation runs, it passes our the phone number of the person. This is my actual phone number. The record ID and all the information, right? So the Eugene Kazin and all this. Then we have an HTTP request, which is essentially a API request to the Vapi assistant. Vapi has great APIs on how you can call the agents that you have built externally using the APIs. So you can go to the create the call and you can actually do it from here, right? So you do the authorization, you do the body, and then you click send. So it's not a problem, right? Here you have the endpoint, you authorize it with your API key, you provide the body content. And here you can say the name, and this is, the name of the prospect, the assistant ID, the phone number ID, and then this is the most important part. So we are not overriding the whole prompt. So technically you can use it you may not use the variables. So here you can override the whole prompt in Vapi, right? And dynamically input the information here. But why? If you can do it through the variables, right? And when the API call will be made, it will just replace the variables with all this information. That's why here we say first name, last name, phone, address. And this must be exactly as the variables here. So as you can see, there is a first name, and this is exactly how it's written here. Then the customer phone number, done, right? This will call the prospect. Now, we will test it in a few minutes, but when it calls the prospect, the call goes for, a minute or so. Then when it's ended, it will send a request to another webhook to that, this is the second automation that we have, right? And it is, okay, whatever. So it's not this one. It's just, yeah. So it's the new one. I duplicated it. Anyways, so here in the advanced settings, so in the advanced settings, you specify the server URL that the agent will call after the call has been done, and output all the information about the call, like summary, transcript, the cost, everything. And this is specify what information exactly you need. Okay, just to clarify, we don't really need any functions because we're not verifying any information on the call. We're not booking directly on the call. For the voice, we're using 11 Labs, Tiffany, pretty good, pretty good voice, especially for this use case. It's kind of like an older lady that could potentially work in the company. For the model, we use GPT-4o mini, and we don't use any knowledge base because people don't ask information about us, about the company. We have it here. As you can see, there's some information about the company available, but that's it. Okay. When the call is ended, we are, receiving this webhook with information. Then we are finding the record for this person in the Airtable. If you look closely in the automation, we are, where is it? Here. We are passing in the variable record ID. We're not using it directly in the call, but it's stored somewhere in the Vapi system as the record ID variable. And then when the call is ended, it's returned back to this webhook. And now we can use this record ID to find this specific customer. When we find it, we are asking AI to analyze the transcript of the conversation and define, is the person interested or not? So if he is interested, output 1. If he is not interested, output 2. Then we have a router where we verify. If the result is 1, it means that the prospect is interested, we do one thing. If it's not not interested, do another thing. Essentially, it's like the same kind of update where we are updating the same record. Here we are like changing the status interested to yes, and here the status interested no. We don't obviously update all the things like the transcript, the summary, and the recording URL because it's updated here. I'm not sure if I didn't cover it. Yeah, so all the information that was passed to the webhook. Here we have the follow-up summary in the Airtable, the transcript, the recording, the call date, and the call ID, the duration, the cost. So we pass all the information. Okay, thus we have everything that we need about the call, and the sales agent will understand what's going on. So if we go to the Airtable, here's how it looks. On the data, again, I copy and paste it. There's nothing here. So there's like some information here on the interested, but I'll delete it and when we test the agent. Here, as you can see, we have like the duration, call ID, the call date, the recording URL. So we have everything. The fun part begins when we are talking about the interface. So this is again very raw because we had 2 options and we are still developing the interface. This is the version 1 of it. I will probably record another video on like the final interface that we did for this specific line because we are very often use Airtable as, you know, a source, as a dashboard for the people, because we do have like options like the chat dash or the TXI, whatever, the voice glow to output and display the information even for primarily for agents, right? So like the chatbots. Voice glow can be connected to Vapi, and this is what I'm going to show you next, but there are some limitations in terms of the reports that you can generate. And here, as you can see, we have like the total number of calls to be made, how many calls has been done. There are like how many prospects were interested, how long the conversation lasts, as well as some more info. In the details, this is kind of like a record picker. Here, as you can see, we have the prospects that has been interested and we have all the information about them. So this is the main place where a sales agent will go to and see, okay, so this prospect is interested. There is like a button here actually on the real case that goes directly to their HubSpot to like update the customer and call the customer from there, so that, you know, it's all in one place. Anyways, but yes, this is kind of an overview how the business interacts with the system, right? With the data that is powered on the back end here. Now let's check it out and see how it works. I'll take my phone and we will try to call myself. Okay, again, I am blurring the information just so that YouTube doesn't block me. So let's remove the check mark. This is the prospect, for example, like Eugene Kadzin, and this is my phone number. Okay, so let's start this automation and this automation just so that we see it, and let's do the call. Okay, so it should call my number right now after the automation here starts. Okay, yeah, so if we go to automation, it has been successfully run and I receive a phone call.
From LTC Financial. Do you have a minute?
Yeah, sure, I do.
Great. I wanted to follow up because you showed interest in long-term care insurance. Are you still looking for a quote?
Yes, I actually do.
Perfect. Do you still live in Tampa, FL?
Yeah, I do.
Awesome. Can I ask how old you are? And do you have any specific coverage needs in mind?
No, I don't. I'm 57.
Thanks for that, Eugene. Just to let you know, our agent will contact you within an hour. Does that work for you?
Yes, it does.
Goodbye.
Okay, so it hung up, as you can see. Yeah, so this is Jesus, I copied the wrong script. So this is the webhook that is actually triggering every time like the agent says something. So it's like sending this webhook every time, and we need to add like a filter here that will only filter the end of the conversation summary. Okay, I'll explain you how to do that. Let's go, where's it? Okay, so here, as you can see, when we trigger the automation, it passed all these things and it triggered the call. So in the request content, we have this request with all the variables, right? It replaces the variables in the Vapi, and Vapi called with all the information already in hand. If we go to the transcript, it sent a lot of requests. Yeah, so, and the last one should be the, okay. Yes, so the last one is the actual summary. Okay, so here, as you can see, if we go to the message type, so what you would do is you would add a router that will verify this field. So when the type is end of call report, you'll go to the next step, or you will skip it, or you can configure it in the advanced settings when you pass it, whatever. Now, so when we found the record, right? So then we asked the AI to analyze it. So it output 1 since we are, right, interested. And then it updated the thing to yes. If we go back to our data, it should update all the information about our call. Yes. So there's a summary. There is a transcript. We actually need to change it to a long text. It's easier to see. Okay. So this is the transcript. I'm 57. There is a recording, call date, and all the information. And now I am interested. If we go here to the dashboard, so this is, for example, how the person will see it. We should have a Eugene somewhere, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so yeah, so it's here. It's Eugene, need to work on the filtration. This is all the information. Now the agent just verify everything on the call. If it worked correctly, maybe have a recording just in case, go to the HubSpot and close the deal. We have an option also to use VoiceGlow as the the point of tracking the conversations. The problem here is that, again, it's kind of more simplified interface, but this is not the last conversation. This is the conversation for the task, because you need to specifically include here the server URL and the server URL secret to the Vapi to work. But we have a recording here, we have all the conversations, we can do the tags. Anyways, so I think, guys, you understood the idea. I do believe that it's a very powerful tool that you can use in your business, or you can sell to other companies if they would love to integrate AI but not sure where to start. This is a great starting point to explain how the payment structure works with this specific client, because I promised you to provide this info. We charged the small prototype fee to give them an idea how the agent works, because they had no idea, that this is possible. I reached out to this client using cold emails. Then we happened on the call. I offered the prototype for them. If I believe the prototype was like $4,400. So we charged for the prototype. We built it in a week, presented. They liked it. Then there were one-time payment, which is, I believe, $7,000. And then we were and still are charging a monthly retainer. They were not, I asked them, they asked not to provide the information on how much we are charging them. They're okay to share some of the information, but to give you an idea, so it is around $1,000 per month, because we are actively managing this system. In the title, you saw that I was saying sell this system for $3,000 a month. I think this is the very valid way to either do it for free with a very small one-time payment from the business side, and then charge a retainer the same way as the marketing agencies do, or to work on the performance, especially if you are starting out, based on the results that the agent will show to the business. Again, it really depends on the structure. I will talk about all of these things in 99 Players. This is the new project that I'm launching November 9th, which is specifically designed for the people that want to make $10,000 a month selling AI solutions. I already talked about it. There is a link in the description. I think it's going to be the first link. You go there, the waitlist is open. And inside the waitlist, I share some information what it's going to be. Again, the launch will be on November 9th. So, and there you will have all the information that you need besides what I share here on my YouTube. Thanks for watching, guys. Peace.